Every single person on this planet, whether a billionaire, an athlete, or an ordinary dreamer, has been given the same 24 hours in a day. No more, no less. That's the one thing life gives equally to all of us. Yet some people rise, build empires, transform their lives, and others remain stuck, frustrated, overwhelmed. The difference isn't luck. Every single morning is a fresh chance to rewrite the story of your life. It's not just the start of another day. It's the beginning of another opportunity to become the person you were meant to be. The way you manage your morning defines how you show up in the world. It decides your energy, your attitude, your focus, and your drive. Most people wake up every day and go straight into reaction mode. They let the day control them instead of taking charge. They open their phones, scroll through messages, check notifications, and absorb the chaos of the world before they've even centered themselves. And then they wonder why they feel anxious, rushed, or unproductive. The truth is, if you don't own your morning, you'll spend the rest of the day trying to catch up. When you open your eyes each morning, you are standing at the crossroads of who you were yesterday and who you can become today. That first hour after you wake up determines everything. It's the foundation for how you will think, feel, and act throughout the day. The people who achieve extraordinary success understand this truth deeply. They know that their morning is their most sacred time, the space where they build their mental, physical, and emotional strength before the world makes any demands on them. Think about it. If you start your morning in chaos, your mind stays chaotic. If you start it with clarity, your day follows with purpose. The first thing you do when you wake up is not just a habit, it's a signal to your brain about what kind of person you are. Do you roll over, hit snooze, and delay your goals another 10 minutes? Or do you rise with conviction, reminding yourself that today is your chance to make something happen? Every single morning, life gives you a test, and that test begins the moment the alarm goes off. There's something powerful about being up early when the world is still quiet. It's a time when distractions are silent, when your mind is fresh, and when you can connect with your inner purpose before the noise begins. Those early hours aren't just about getting a head start. They're about building momentum before anyone else even begins to move. When you wake up and immediately do something that moves you forward, whether it's exercise, reflection, prayer, journaling, or planning, you build a sense of progress before the rest of the world even opens its eyes. And progress is what creates energy. You don't need to be perfect in your routine. You don't need a list of 10 things to check off before breakfast. You just need consistency. The discipline to show up every morning, no matter how you feel, is what separates the dreamers from the doers. Most people wait to feel motivated before taking action, but motivation is born from movement. The moment you start doing, your energy begins to rise. When you take that first small action, you tell your mind, I'm in control. And that single decision shapes the rest of your day. Let's be real, there will be mornings when you don't want to get up. When the bed feels too comfortable, when your goals seem far away, when you tell yourself, just 5 more minutes. But every time you give in to that comfort, you teach your mind that short-term ease is more important than long-term purpose. Success doesn't come from comfort. It comes from commitment. When you rise even when you don't feel like it, you build mental toughness. You train your mind to follow your purpose instead of your feelings. That's where real strength is born. There's a saying, if you win the morning, you win the day. And it's true, because the morning is when you set the tone. It's when you decide whether you'll live with intention or drift through the day reacting to whatever comes your way. Imagine waking up and spending the first 30 minutes in silence. No phone, no news, no distractions. Just you and your thoughts. You take a few deep breaths, stretch, and think about what you want to create today. You visualize your goals. You remind yourself of your values. You choose your state of mind before stepping into the world. That's how champions start their day, with clarity and power. Your morning should be your launch pad. Think of it as the ignition to your inner fire. Every habit you build in those first moments after waking up becomes a declaration to yourself. When you make your bed, you send your brain a message that order and discipline matter. When you hydrate, you tell your body it's time to fuel for performance. When you move, whether that's exercise or a simple walk, you wake up not just your muscles, but your spirit. When you review your goals, you remind your subconscious what you're chasing and why it matters. None of these things are small. They're rituals that train your identity. Success is not a single massive act. It's a collection of small, consistent decisions made over time. And the morning is where those decisions begin. That's why it's so crucial to protect your morning from the chaos of the outside world. The moment you let distractions invade, social media, emails, negative news, you've already handed your focus to something else. Instead, use that time to build your mindset, your health, and your plan. Even if you only have 20 or 30 minutes, use them to strengthen yourself. Because those few moments can decide whether your day will be one of power or of reaction. There's another truth about mornings. The way you treat yourself at the start of the day determines how you'll treat your time throughout it. If you wake up in a rush, skipping breakfast, checking messages while brushing your teeth, you're telling yourself your life is out of control. But if you begin with calm, presence, and direction, you're telling yourself that you're in charge. You create a rhythm of excellence that follows you through every decision you make. You might think you don't have time to build a morning routine, but that's a lie your busy mind tells you. The truth is, you don't have time not to. Every day wasted in confusion and stress costs you energy, creativity, and progress. And the simplest way to change that is to take command of how you start each day. Wake up 30 minutes earlier. Use that time not to consume, but to create. Read something that inspires you. Reflect on your goals. Move your body. Breathe deeply. It's not about how much time you have. It's about how intentionally you use it. Think of the most productive people you know. They all have something in common. They have rituals that ground them. These rituals remind them of who they are and what they're fighting for. Without a morning structure, your mind is like an open browser with 50 tabs. It's scattered and slow. But when you ground yourself in the morning, you close those tabs. You give your attention direction. And that focus becomes your greatest weapon in a distracted world. One of the biggest mistakes people make is waiting for the right time to start managing their mornings. They tell themselves they'll do it when life slows down, when work is easier, when they have more energy. But life never slows down on its own. You have to decide to take control now. Every morning you delay is another morning lost. You don't need a perfect setup. You don't need expensive tools. You just need a decision. The decision to stop drifting and start directing. When you wake up with purpose, everything around you begins to shift. You'll notice that you're calmer during challenges. You'll notice that you think clearer. You'll notice that people respond differently to your energy because your morning gives you power. It gives you command over your emotions, your reactions, and your mindset. You'll stop living in survival mode and start living in creation mode. That's when you stop saying, I don't have enough time, and start saying, I have all the time I need to make things happen. Your morning is your mirror. It reflects how much you value yourself. If you rush through it, you're telling the world your dreams aren't worth your time. But if you protect it, if you nurture it, you're showing the world that you respect your purpose. Success doesn't belong to the busiest. It belongs to the most intentional. And intention begins the moment you open your eyes. You are not your habits. You are the creator of them. You can choose to wake up tomorrow and start differently. You can choose to stop being reactive and start being deliberate. You can choose to honor your mornings as sacred time. And when you do, you'll find that you no longer have to chase success. Success will begin to chase you because you'll have built the momentum, the energy, and the clarity that attract results. So tomorrow morning, when that alarm goes off, remember this. You're not waking up just to go through another day. You're waking up to build a future. You're waking up to invest in yourself. You're waking up to rise above your old patterns and step into your higher self. Take those first moments of the day and fill them with power, gratitude, and purpose. Every breath, every step, every thought counts. Because how you manage your first hour determines how you'll manage the other 23. You have the same 24 hours as everyone else. The difference is what you do with them. When you choose to master your morning, you've already won half the battle. The world will always try to pull you in 1,000 directions, but your morning is your anchor. It's where you remind yourself that you're the author of your life, not the audience. So rise up with energy, move with purpose. Speak life into your day. Don't just wake up, come alive. Because every morning you master brings you one step closer to mastering your destiny. And when you own your mornings, you don't just create successful days, you create a successful life. Every single day, you are handed a priceless gift, 24 hours of pure potential. The question is, how much of that potential do you truly use to build the life you want? So many people wonder why success feels distant, why progress feels slow, why they work hard yet never seem to move forward. The answer often lies in one simple truth. They have never learned how to prioritize what truly matters. They spend their time reacting to the urgent instead of committing to the important. They confuse movement with progress, activity with achievement. And before they know it, another day has passed, another opportunity lost, another dream pushed aside by distractions that don't matter. Time is not the problem, focus is. You don't need more hours in the day. You need to decide which moments are worth living for. Every task, every message, every obligation competes for your attention. The world will always try to pull you in 100 different directions. But you can't give your time to everything and still expect to create greatness. If you don't define your priorities, someone else will. If you don't protect your focus, the world will steal it. Success isn't about doing more. It's about doing what matters most and giving it everything you have. Most people spend their time like it's infinite. They treat it as if there will always be more days, more chances, more tomorrows. But time is not a renewable resource. Every minute you spend doing something meaningless is a minute you'll never get back. And once you truly feel the weight of that truth, you start to live differently. You stop wasting time trying to please everyone. You stop chasing distractions that don't feed your purpose. You stop living on autopilot. Instead, you begin to live with awareness, with clarity, with direction. You must learn to look at your day and ask yourself a powerful question. Is what I'm doing right now moving me closer to my purpose or further away? Because that one question can change everything. It can turn your attention from business to effectiveness, from scattered energy to focused intensity. When you focus on what matters, every action becomes meaningful. You no longer work hard for the sake of working. You work smart. You work with intention, and that's when your results begin to multiply. The truth is, you will never find time for what matters. You have to make time for it. If you wait for the perfect moment, it will never come. Life will always be busy. There will always be noise. But the successful understand how to filter that noise and create space for what counts. They protect their priorities the same way a warrior protects their most valuable weapon. They know that every yes comes with a cost. When you say yes to one thing, you're saying no to something else. The question is, what are you saying no to without realizing it? Your dreams, your health, your peace of mind. You can't please everyone and live your best life. You can't chase every opportunity and still walk a straight path. You can't say yes to every request and still have energy for your mission. That's why learning to prioritize is one of the most powerful skills you can ever master. It's not selfish, it's strategic. You are not rejecting people, you're protecting your purpose. You are not avoiding responsibility, you're honoring your potential. Think of your time like a bank account. Each morning you wake up with 24 golden hours deposited into your account. You cannot save them for tomorrow. You cannot earn more. You can only spend them. So the question becomes, how are you spending your hours? Are you investing them in things that will grow your future? Or are you throwing them away on things that keep you stuck in the same place? Most people waste precious time on things that bring instant gratification, but no long-term value. They binge entertainment instead of learning. They gossip instead of growing. They react to notifications instead of creating. And yet they wonder why success feels out of reach. The truth is, you cannot build a meaningful life on meaningless actions. You cannot expect big results from small priorities. You must be willing to choose long-term satisfaction over short-term comfort. That means saying no when it's hard, walking away from distractions that everyone else indulges in, and standing firm when your vision demands focus. You have to become ruthless with your time. That doesn't mean being harsh. It means being intentional. It means designing your day so that every moment reflects your highest values. Start each morning by identifying the 3 things that would make the biggest impact on your goals if accomplished. Focus on those first. Let the small stuff wait. Because if you don't decide what's important, everything will seem urgent. And urgency is the enemy of priority. The secret to prioritizing what truly matters is learning to separate what's important from what's merely loud. The loud things in life, messages, deadlines, opinions, obligations, will always scream for your attention. But the important things, your growth, your relationships, your purpose, speak quietly. You have to be still enough to hear them. That's why focus requires silence. It requires stepping back, breathing, and asking yourself what truly deserves your attention. And don't be fooled. Sometimes the things that matter most aren't urgent at all. They don't demand you. They wait patiently. Your health, your family, your vision, they won't beg for attention. But neglect them long enough, and you'll realize how essential they were. The most successful people never lose sight of this. They don't measure their days by how busy they were, but by how aligned they were. They live by design, not by default. You might say, but I don't have enough time. Yet time isn't the issue. You have enough time. You're just giving it to the wrong things. Every scroll, every distraction, every unnecessary commitment steals from your future. You don't need to do more. You need to do less, but better. You need to do what matters most with total conviction. When you do that, you begin to experience something extraordinary progress with peace. You stop feeling rushed and start feeling powerful. Because you're no longer chasing time, you're commanding it. Let's get honest. How much of your time is spent reacting instead of creating? How much of your energy is wasted on things that make no difference a week from now? Imagine how your life would change if you began using your hours like a sculptor uses his tools, carefully, intentionally, with precision. You would begin to shape something beautiful. That's what happens when you prioritize the meaningful over the meaningless. Learn to eliminate. The world glorifies doing it all, but success requires subtraction, not addition. Remove what doesn't serve your mission. Declutter your schedule, your environment, your mind. Simplify your focus until all that remains are the things that drive your purpose. The fewer distractions you have, the more powerful your actions become. Because every time you say no to something that doesn't matter, you're saying yes to something that does. And this principle doesn't just apply to work. It applies to life. Prioritize people who lift you up, not those who drain your energy. Prioritize learning over entertainment, growth over comfort, truth over approval. Every choice you make defines the quality of your future. Each decision is like a seed. You either plant something that grows or something that withers. You must also remember that prioritization is not about rigidity, it's about alignment. There will be days when life throws curveballs, when plans fall apart, when you feel off track. That's okay. What matters is returning to your priorities quickly. Don't waste energy on guilt or frustration. Just recalibrate. Ask yourself, what's the next most important thing I can do right now? Then do it with full focus. That single step realigns you with progress. When you live with priorities, you start to notice a shift in how you experience time. You stop feeling like you're chasing it. Instead, you start to flow with it. You move from pressure to power. From chaos to clarity, you feel lighter, sharper, and more fulfilled because you're no longer scattering your energy. Every hour starts to matter. Every action becomes deliberate. That's when success becomes inevitable, because you're no longer wasting your greatest resource. There's something deeply liberating about living this way. You stop being a victim of time and become its master. You wake up knowing what truly matters and go to bed knowing you honored it. You no longer need to impress anyone or prove anything. You just stay aligned with your mission. That's real peace. That's real success. Ask yourself today, what really matters to me? What would I regret not doing if this year ended tomorrow? What am I giving my energy to that doesn't deserve it? The answers to those questions will reveal everything you need to know about how to spend your time. And once you see it clearly, don't hesitate. Start cutting the noise. Start choosing the few things that truly move your life forward. When you learn to prioritize what truly matters, you stop being busy and start being effective. You stop living reactively and start living intentionally. You stop surviving the day and start shaping it. That's the transformation that changes everything. You become calm in the storm because you know what matters most cannot be shaken. You begin to create days that reflect your purpose instead of days that just fill your calendar. You have one life, one set of 24 hours every day, and you owe it to yourself to spend it on things that make you come alive. Don't trade your time for distractions that make you forget who you are. Trade it for growth, for love, for meaning, for mastery. Because at the end of the day, it's not about how much you did, it's about what you did that mattered. So from this moment forward, choose wisely. When something tries to pull your attention, ask yourself if it serves your vision. If it doesn't, let it go. Your dreams are too valuable to waste on trivialities. Your life is too precious to spend on things that don't count. Focus your time like a laser, not a flashlight. Direct your energy toward the few things that make the biggest difference. And watch how your world begins to change. You can't manage every second, but you can master your focus. You can't control the length of your life, but you can control its depth. And depth comes from living with purpose, from giving your best energy to the things that truly matter. Every day is a choice between distraction and direction, noise and meaning, movement and progress. Choose meaning, choose direction, choose progress. When you begin to prioritize what truly matters, you'll find yourself no longer chasing success. It starts chasing you. Because the universe rewards clarity. Life opens doors for the focused, not the frantic. Every great achiever, every visionary, every leader who's left a mark on this world has learned to say one powerful word: no. They say no to anything that doesn't align with their mission, and because of that, they can give a full and resounding yes to what does. So protect your time like it's gold, because it is. Protect your focus like your life depends on it, because it does. And every day, remind yourself, not everything deserves your attention, but your dream does. Give it the time it deserves. Give it your heart, your discipline, your best hours. Because when you prioritize what truly matters, you don't just manage your 24 hours. You master your destiny. Momentum is the invisible force that separates those who dream from those who achieve. It's that surge of energy that pushes you forward when others give up. It's the rhythm of consistent action, the unstoppable current that builds when you commit to showing up every single day, no matter how you feel. Most people don't fail because they lack ability or opportunity. They fail because they never build momentum. They start with passion, but stop when progress slows. They let resistance win before victory arrives. Yet every success story, every transformation, every breakthrough is the result of one simple principle: movement creates power. The moment you move, the moment you take one small step toward your goal, you awaken something deep inside you, the engine of momentum. Think about it. When you're standing still, it feels hard to start. The weight of inaction feels heavy. Doubt, fear, and laziness whisper in your ear, telling you to wait, to rest, to think about it later. But the moment you act, no matter how small that action is, you ignite energy. You shift from stillness to motion, from hesitation to direction. The hardest part of any goal is not the middle, it's the start. Once you begin, momentum takes over. It's like pushing a heavy boulder up a hill, slow, difficult, even painful at first. But as soon as you reach that point where the slope changes, where the boulder starts rolling, everything becomes lighter. You no longer fight to move it, it moves itself. That's what happens when you create momentum in your life. Success isn't built on bursts of effort. It's built on steady, deliberate motion. Every action you take, no matter how small, compounds. A single hour of focus each day becomes hundreds of hours over the year. One disciplined choice repeated daily becomes a lifestyle. One tiny victory after another becomes unstoppable progress. The secret is not to wait for motivation. It's to use action as the spark that creates it. Too many people sit around waiting to feel ready, but readiness never comes. Action comes first. Emotion follows. You must act your way into feeling, not feel your way into action. When you start building momentum, something powerful happens. You begin to trust yourself. You start believing in your ability to create results. Every promise you keep to yourself strengthens that belief. Every goal you complete whispers, "I can do this," and that belief becomes fuel. It becomes self-reinforcing energy. The more you act, the more confident you become. The more confident you become, the more you act. That's the cycle of momentum. Once you tap into it, it carries you further than you ever thought possible. But here's the truth most people don't want to hear. Momentum doesn't come from massive leaps. It comes from consistency in the small things. The person who works on their dream for 1 hour every day will always outperform the person who gives it 10 hours once a week. Because consistency creates compounding, and compounding creates transformation. Just as water cuts through rock not because of its strength, but because of its persistence. Your consistent effort carves through the obstacles standing in your way. You must train yourself to take action, even when it's inconvenient, even when it's uncomfortable, even when no one is watching. Because discipline builds momentum faster than emotion ever will. When you do what needs to be done regardless of how you feel, you teach your mind to follow your purpose instead of your comfort. And every time you do that, you build another layer of strength. You become unstoppable not because life gets easier, but because you get stronger. Momentum also has another magic. It attracts opportunities. When you're in motion, people notice. Energy attracts energy. Ideas flow to you. Doors open. You meet the right people at the right time because you're in the flow of action. You're no longer waiting for life to happen. You're making it happen. That's why momentum is the real secret weapon of achievers. It's not luck. It's not timing. It's movement. You can't steer a parked car, but once it's moving, you can guide it anywhere. That's exactly how life works. Every hour of your day is a seed. Some people plant theirs in doubt and procrastination. Others plant theirs in effort and faith. The difference shows up later when the harvest comes. If you spend your hours waiting for perfect conditions, you'll miss the moment you could have started. Momentum is built by those who act despite imperfection. They don't wait for the fear to disappear, they act through it. They don't wait for the plan to be perfect. They start with what they have. They understand that perfection is just another word for paralysis. What matters is progress. You must fall in love with progress, not perfection, because perfection is fragile. It breaks under pressure. Progress is strong. It thrives in motion. When you fall in love with progress, every day becomes a victory. Even when you don't hit your target, you've moved closer. Even when you stumble, you've learned something. Progress gives meaning to effort. It keeps your spirit alive when the results haven't yet shown up. Momentum doesn't just exist in work or goals. It lives in your mindset. When you wake up and immediately take control of your day, when you move your body, feed your mind, and commit to your purpose, you create mental momentum. That energy carries into your thoughts, your actions, your decisions. But when you begin your day reacting to problems, scrolling through distractions, or doubting yourself, you lose that flow. You start your day from a place of resistance instead of readiness. And once resistance builds, it becomes harder to push through. That's why the way you start each hour matters. Every choice is either fueling your momentum or draining it. And remember, momentum isn't just about speed, it's about direction. Moving fast in the wrong direction doesn't lead to success. It leads to exhaustion. You need clarity on where you're going, or your energy will scatter. Take time each day to align your actions with your purpose. Ask yourself, is what I'm doing right now getting me closer to where I want to be? If the answer is no, redirect your energy immediately. Every time you correct your course, you strengthen your focus. And with focus, your momentum becomes a force of nature. Sometimes you'll face setbacks. You'll lose motivation. You'll hit walls. That's part of the process. Momentum doesn't mean you never slow down. It means you never stop. When life hits you hard, push through with even one small step. Momentum thrives on persistence, even when progress seems invisible. It's building underneath the surface. Every bit of effort compounds. You may not see results immediately, but trust that movement is never wasted. The energy you put out today is the foundation of tomorrow's success. And when momentum slows, don't panic, reignite it. The easiest way to rebuild momentum is to start small again. Take one step, finish one task, move 1 inch forward. Because motion creates emotion. The moment you act, even in the smallest way, your energy returns. That's how you regain your flow. It's not about giant leaps. It's about consistent steps. One small, courageous act can reignite the fire that's been fading inside you. When you have momentum, challenges shrink. What used to seem impossible starts to feel inevitable. You stop doubting yourself and start expecting success. You stop asking, can I? And start saying, I will. That's what momentum does. It changes your internal dialogue. It rewires your belief system from limitation to power. You start trusting yourself more deeply, and that trust becomes unstoppable fuel. Think about the power of momentum in your relationships, in your health, in your mindset. When you start showing up consistently for others, with kindness, integrity, and effort, connections grow stronger. When you move your body daily, even for a few minutes, your energy rises. When you feed your mind with positivity every day, negativity loses its grip. Everything in life operates on momentum. It either builds or decays. You're either strengthening your habits or weakening them. You're either moving forward or falling behind. There is no standing still. You have to decide which way your life's momentum is flowing. Is it moving toward your goals or away from them? If it's not moving in the direction you want, it's time to shift gears. That shift doesn't happen overnight. It happens the moment you take responsibility. The moment you stop waiting for external motivation and start generating it from within. You become the source of your own energy. You stop depending on circumstances to fuel your drive because your fire burns from the inside out. Every hour of your day can either feed your momentum or kill it. That's why being intentional is everything. Surround yourself with people who lift your energy, not drain it. Fill your environment with reminders of your goals. Keep visual symbols of progress, checklists, journals, milestones. When you can see and feel your progress, you want to keep going. That's how you keep the fire alive. Momentum also thrives on gratitude. Every time you pause to appreciate how far you've come, you feed your drive to go further. Gratitude reminds you that you're capable, that progress is real, that you're not the same person who started this journey. Too often, people lose momentum because they only focus on how far they still have to go. But if you take a moment each day to acknowledge your wins, no matter how small, you remind yourself that progress is happening. Gratitude fuels persistence, and persistence sustains momentum. And here's something powerful: momentum loves movement, not perfection. You don't need to have it all figured out to start. You just need to take the next right step. The universe doesn't reward hesitation, it rewards courage. When you take bold action, even when you're scared, life responds. Opportunities appear, people notice, circumstances shift, movement creates momentum, and momentum creates magic. There will be days when your energy feels low, when the path feels uncertain, when your vision feels too far away. That's when momentum matters most. Because momentum carries you through the times when motivation fades. It's the unseen force that keeps you moving even when the results haven't arrived yet. That's why consistency beats intensity. Anyone can work hard for a day, but success belongs to those who show up again and again long after the excitement is gone. Remember, success doesn't happen in one giant leap. It happens in 1,000 invisible steps. It's built through repetition, resilience, and refusal to stop. Every hour is an opportunity to build momentum or break it. If you spend your hours wisely, feeding your focus, protecting your energy, and moving forward, you'll be amazed at what compounds over time. You have 24 hours each day, the same as everyone else. What separates you is how you use them. Every action is a brick. Every decision is mortar. And every hour is construction time for the life you're building. If you stop laying bricks, the structure weakens. But if you keep laying them, one by one, even when it's slow, even when it's hard, one day you'll look up and realize you've built something extraordinary.